Hey, 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 happy day, Pajama Grandma. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, your coach through Expert Secrets Masterclass. And we are going to begin talking about the attractive character today. The attractive character based on the items in Russell Brunson's book. And I will do a better job. You've got this in your book, but we'll discuss it. We're going to break it down because I think that the attractive character is so important. We can't just read it all and then think that it's going to magically appear in our life. We want to really cultivate this in ourselves so that we get our message across, so that we do the best job possible portraying our expertise to other people, because it's all about them relating to us and wanting to follow us. So there's several key elements in the attractive character. The attractive character. The backstory, your backstory as it relates to your target audience, the people that you want to serve. Because we all have incredible backstories and lots of things that have happened to us in our life, but a lot of it is not relevant to the audience that we're reaching. For example, I have a lot of business background and you know, all kinds of technical expertise. But the people I'm trying to serve have chronic pain right now, and they couldn't care less about USDA rules or quality control or statistics or business costs or how different departments interact and communicate with one another. That's not important to them. So as I'm going through this and developing my attractive character for chronic pain folks, it's very different, the stories that I'll tell, the backstory, and my backstory is different than I would tell to my business clients. So as I'm going through the Expert Secrets book, and as you go through, you want to consider picking stories and your backstory that relates to your desired ideal client. And your backstory is just pieces of your history, because people want to know where you've been, because ideally you're going after people that are in the spot you were in before you made the transformation and learned about the thing that you're an expert in now. So when I'm dealing with chronic pain and my attractive character for this, I am just going back to, okay, all of my chronic pain and chronic illness related stories and experiences. Those are the ones that I'm pulling from so that people can relate to so that people understand that I've been where they are, that I've been through the same exact things that they're struggling with now. And then they want to see our life as we live it today. How are we living today? Because we want to show them the transformation that we've made, and we're appealing to them that they want to be in the same spot that we're in now. So we have to be willing to show people our lives. We need to be willing to open up and be vulnerable and share our backstory, where we've been, the struggles we've had, the things we've gone through, so that they can relate to us as we are now. And we have to be willing to share and show our life as it is now, assuming that the life we're living is the life that they want to be living too. So for example, me, I was, bedridden and couldn't get out of bed, and now I do pretty much what I want, when I want, with whoever I want. And I think that most of the people that were like I was, that are bedridden and hurting, would love to be able to do what they want, when they want, with whomever they want. And so I need to be willing to show them both sides of that by sharing my backstory and being vulnerable about that and the struggles I had with that, the journey along the way, and where I am now, what my life is like now. In my pajamas. So people need to know our backstory. And there are 6 main rules that Russell shares in the book with us about the attractive character. I'm going to go over the first 3 of those today. I want to break it down because I think it's so important. We can't just fly through the whole attractive character in one day. So I want to break this down in little pieces so that we really think and we really consider each aspect of our attractive character. There's 4 different types of identity for attractive character. I didn't really say those or mention those yet. There's the leader. Think, people aren't going to like this, but I think Donald Trump. The President of the United States is always a leader. So think Donald Trump, and in any area that you're working in, who are the leaders in the market that you're reaching or the people that you want to serve? Because you want to know who those are. But leaders are usually, I hate to say it, but politicians tend to be leaders. They're people that step up and represent other people. So that is leadership. But leaders, you can make your own list. I mean, Gandhi was a leader, Martin Luther King. There's a huge list of leaders, and you get to define what that means to you and if that's the attractive character role you want to play. There's the adventurer or the crusader, and there's lots of those as well, and you can decide if that's the role that you want to play. There's the reporter or the evangelist, if you stand for a cause or you want to report and share other people's information. And I do little aspects of the reporter. I've been adding interviews to my podcast, and so in that way, shape, or form, sometimes we act and use more than one of these roles, but we will have one role that is predominant, and then the other role is the reluctant hero, and that is, ah shucks, I don't really want to be showing you this, but I figured it out and you might want to know it too. Russell Brunson is the epitome of the reluctant hero, and he does an excellent job at it. And he also does, you can see with him, he's a great example because he does use all of these different personas, but his primary persona is the reluctant hero. So then the elements, what are the elements of the charismatic leader, because we all want to be charismatic leaders, or the attractive character? Well, your backstory, we were just talking about that. You got to be willing to share your backstory, but it's not your whole backstory. People don't need to know everything about you from the time you were born. They just need to know the backstory pieces that are relevant so that they can relate to you and they get that you've actually been there and done, and you know what they're feeling like because you've been there too. Then the next thing is character flaws. And I'm kind of hopping ahead. Let's just go with the rules. But let's talk about the elements. Having one of those mornings. I get to go spend the day with my granddaughter, so I'm discombobulated trying to rush through things. So the elements of an attractive character, let's just do an overview of these, are your backstory, parables, the stories that you're going to tell as you build your relationship with the people that you're trying to attract, your character flaws, your characteristics, things about you that are both charming and endearing, yet but annoying as hell to other people. We all have those. Polarity is the other key element to the attractive character. You can't be boring, and we're going to talk about that in the rules as I talk about the 6 rules too. The first rule, become the attractive character and live the life that your audience wishes that they could live. And that's what I'm talking about your backstory and how you live now. You got to be willing to do that. Maintain absolute certainty is rule number 2. And how do you maintain absolute certainty? Well, you share your story a lot. You share what's going on with you a lot. How do you do that? You publish. You publish, you publish, you publish. You publish every day, either in the written form, through your voice with audio, like a podcast or something. So a blog, a podcast, a Facebook Lives, whatever. You got to be sharing your story and practicing every single day because that gives you absolute certainty. That's why I make videos every day. Are a lot of them boring and terrible? Yes, absolutely. But I know that if I keep doing it, they'll get better. So that, of course, leads us to rule number 3. Don't be boring. Of course, some of us and some of our topics are really boring. But that's why it's important to try to bring something into your attractive character that isn't boring. So I picked Pajama Grandma. I'm trying to make her not boring, but she's still pretty boring. Thus, my continuous work on that character and on me, because I am the Pajama Grandma and I am kind of boring. So how do I get out of that and bust out of my boring zone and not be boring? So the first 3 rules are you have to be willing to share your story. You have to be absolutely certain. That was really funny that I forgot absolutely certain. So you have to share your story. You have to be absolutely certain about your message and what it is that you can help people with, and you can't be boring. So a couple of questions to help you with that today. I'll do a worksheet for this, but the first thing is just start thinking about your backstory as it relates to the people that you're trying to serve, the niche that you're trying to serve. And, write notes. If you want to start writing out your backstory, practicing it, in front of the mirror helps. Just start sharing your backstory. Then Oh, as far as boring goes, Russell has something he calls the prolific index. I forgot about this, but I want to say this because it comes along with being boring. There's polarity, and polarity means you stand for something and you have an opinion. You don't just stay in the middle of the road and be politically correct all the time. Some of us, me personally, I hate political correctness. It's one of the things I loved about having my own businesses is I didn't have to be politically correct, because if you were going to be offended by me being me and having my opinion, if I was going to be offended by having you be you, then you didn't work for me. You weren't part of my actual brick and mortar organization, because I didn't want to have to worry about that and be that way. And I don't think it's the right way of the world. I think it's actually dumbing down America even more and making us a worse, more prejudiced, horrible toward one another country. Oh, side rant, sorry. Anyway, prolific index means I'm willing to stand for something, and I want to create something that isn't just mainstream and copying and what everybody else has got going on in the world. I want to be me, and as me, create something that's unique and special and different, that people are attracted to because it is different, not because it's just like vanilla ice cream. And don't get me wrong, I love vanilla ice cream, especially if it's got caramel cows in it. But you can't be just plain vanilla. Everybody's plain vanilla, and there are so many people out there with similar messages. You will get lost in the sea of information if you're boring. So Russell uses the example of bulletproof coffee, which I will say I love bulletproof coffee. I have one bulletproof coffee a day because it makes my joints feel better, which leads to my chronic pain, which is all tied into who I am. But bulletproof coffee, when you first hear about it, people think it's a little bit out there because you add fat to your coffee, and you're thinking, well, how would butter and coconut oil basically make coffee be good for me and taste good? Well, it's just enough off the center so people are totally attracted to it. But it's not so crazy that people are like, yeah, I'm not even going to try that. And again, he gives the example of the eat the sun diet. People are not going to give up food entirely and eat the sun. At least not most people. Very, very teeny tiny small percentage may, but most people are not going to buy into that and do that. So that I want to just step back about the don't be boring, because that's another thing that's really important. And it helps you to not be boring if you know that you're on the edge of that. I'll give an example. Pajama Grandma was going to a marketing seminar in March, Funnel Hacking Live 2018. And I wanted to stand out in a sea of marketers. So I'd been playing with this Pajama Grandma idea because I am a grandma and I'm in my pajamas a lot, like a lot, way more than I should probably admit on a video. And I should probably admit I need my bulletproof coffee. I haven't had any yet. On a video, and I wanted to stand out, so I decided, okay, I'm going to be really, really brave at this marketing conference, and I'm going to be Pajama Grandma. I'm going to wear pajamas. And I mentioned it to my daughter, and of course, she reeled me in a little, and she said, yeah, maybe you shouldn't do that, Mom. Maybe you should rethink that. And so we decided I would just wear a robe over yoga pants and a nice shirt every day. And it was super comfortable. I'm sure I was the most comfortable person at that entire event. But it was out there. It was definitely out there. And it might have been still, for a lot of people there, even a bunch of marketers, a little on the crazy zone. But I think it worked for me because it is who I am. So we'll see what I do next year. I don't know if I'll be in my pajamas still. Maybe Pajama Grandma will evolve. But right now, I am Pajama Grandma. And so I'm continuing to develop and evolve with that character. And since the character's me, it's kind of easy and fun, actually. So what stories can I tell? So start thinking about what stories you can tell about your experience with whatever it is your topic is, and start jotting down those stories in the form of parables, which means they've got a lesson with them. They're not just a story for the sake of talking and telling a story. They're a story with a reason, a story with a reason that you're telling that story. So start getting your list of those parable type stories together. I'll tell you one of the best things that you can do as you become a leader of any sort, or do anything online, or want to persuade people in any way, shape, or form in your life, especially if you're a mom or something, is to have stories at your fingertips. Start a notebook that's an inventory of stories, and just jot down a couple of phrases that remind you of something that you've had that's happened to you in the past, an experience you've had, or a story or a lesson from another person that you've learned, and just start creating a book or an inventory of those stories, because they will become so useful and so powerful as you share your message, as you create content, as you become your attractive character. Then start making a list of your character flaws. Now I know it's hard, like I itch my nose because my nose itches because I'm going to kiss a fool. I obviously have strange superstitions still, which would be a great example of a character flaw. Saying so a lot is a character flaw. Saying a lot is a character flaw. Start making a list of all your character flaws. And sometimes you just care too much, and that can be a character flaw. Whatever it is for you and your attractive character, what are the character flaws that you would expect your attractive character to have, that your audience might also have, that they can relate to by you having those character flaws? So start making a list of those. Start deciding what your polarity position is going to be. How are you going to exhibit polarity as your attractive character? Me, I kind of come by polarity naturally, but my attractive character for chronic pain, my polarity there is I push hard against the medical establishment. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but because it's only one teeny tiny little piece of the solution that people need. I push hard and make people mad that they have to be responsible for themselves and take personal responsibility for fixing themselves and their own health. And that turns a lot of people off, and that's my way of being polar, because if you absolutely positively want to blame everybody else in the whole wide world for what's going on in your life, I can't help you. I could help you, but I can't help you until you're open to the possibility that you have some power and control over changing your situation. And that's one of the ways that I create polarity. So start thinking of and listing off the ways that you create polarity in your character especially. And then decide what of the four attractive character identities, what one best fits you, your personality, what you're trying to achieve in your market. And again, you'll play different roles, but what is the primary identity that you're going to play? Is it the reluctant hero? Is it the reporter? Is it the crusader? Or is it the leader? Pick which one it is. That is the assignment for today. Go out and make it an awesome day, and I will see you tomorrow with more attractive character details and lessons. Bye. Have an awesome day.